Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Everyone here on this sunny day in Kona, and a sunny day yesterday, and the day before. Amazing, isn't it? We're going to begin our service today. If everyone will please rise, and we're going to say our affirmation for this month of July. And so let's affirm this together. The Spirit of the Lord goes before me, making easy, joyous, and successful my way. I am free, and so it is. I am free. Yeah, they're yelling at each other over there. It's great. Right, Tom? That's right. And now we're going to sing our opening song, and who's going to come up here and sing it with me? There we go. Vince is here. Yay.
Good morning. So the daily word for today, Sunday, July 24th, is relationships. I behold the Christ essence in myself and in others. These words, written by Richard and Mary Alice Chifola, remind me that there is a divine connection joining me with every person. There is a level in every human soul which knows no conflict, competition, or contempt, a level which knows only peace, harmony, and love. In fact, it is peace and harmony and love because it is the Christ essence of us. When it is hard for me to see our connection, I can improve the situation by lifting my awareness. I redirect negative reactions by remembering the Christ in me, and then I can begin to recognize it in others. In my mind and heart, I connect our higher selves. Beyond the outer facade of hurt feelings, fears, and apprehension is our Christ identity. Seeing it in others helps them see it in themselves. From his fullness, we have all received grace upon grace. John 1:16. So the daily word for today is relationships. I behold the essence of Christ in myself and in others. Together? I behold the essence in myself and in others.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you very much. And now I invite you to visualize our sanctuary as a beautiful heart. And in this heart is each one of us. And we allow that energy, that love to fill our heart, to fill this whole center back into Sunday school. And in these moments, we breathe into our heart space. We allow ourselves to be filled with love, caring, compassion that we have for ourselves, each other, our families, and our world. So just allow yourself to breathe lovingly, filling our heart, filling it with so much love. And if you know of anyone in need of prayer, see them in our heart. And if there is any circumstance in your life and in our world, we just allow them to be blessed, loved, nurtured, and cared for as we sing the prayer for protection. And now I invite you to get comfortable where you are. Close your eyes if that feels right to you. And we begin our time of centering in prayer by just breathing. We take in a deep breath, that very breath of life that is God. And we hold it for just a moment. And as we exhale, we begin to relax. And breathing in again deeply. And allow yourself to exhale deeply. And once more, breathing in deeply. And as we exhale this time, we rest in the consciousness of our heart. And relaxing our breath, we allow ourselves to be here right now. Breathing and relaxing. Breathing, relaxing. And every time we do this, it allows us to prepare ourselves for our greater good. We breathe and relax. We breathe and we trust. We breathe and we know. As in today's daily word, life is relationship. Every relationship in our lives is the opportunity for connection. Whether it's a long and lengthy relationship or just a brief moment in passing, we're all connected, filled with that light, that wonder, that oneness, and the spirit of recognition. Breathing and relaxing. Allow yourself to set aside anything that keeps you from this now moment. Relax and breathe. Breathe and relax. And we know no matter what the outside circumstance may be, whatever challenges we may face, whatever may be around us and in front of us, the things that we do not know, we trust God. We trust the truth in us, that spirit that cares for us. Allow yourself to be nurtured and loved right here and right now. Breathing in this energy of love. Exhaling energy of love. And as we go into a time of quiet prayer, if you came here today with a special need, allow yourself to be filled and nurtured and loved, cared for in your relationship with God in the silence. And now as we bring ourselves back to this holy moment, we allow our mind and our heart to be filled with gratitude just for these special moments of reconnecting with the God of our being, of knowing that God is the source for all good, for everyone, everywhere. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, Larry. Ingrid decided not to brave the roads today, so Larry's here in her place, and we're so grateful for that. Thank you, thank you. Yes, and so I asked you before, how is everybody today? Yes, all right. So how many of you, I want you to think about when you knew that we were having this tropical storm. And have you noticed how some stations really portray it as disastrous coming our way? And others do try to give us just the facts. And what makes you feel better? Just the facts, ma'am, right? Isn't that the truth? That when we just are given the facts about anything, we can make a choice for ourselves. And so that's what we're here to do, and also to prepare. So I ask you, how do you prepare yourself for a thunderstorm or a hurricane or whatever? What are some of the things you do? Close the windows. Close the windows so the water doesn't come in, and Virginia says, go get water. What else do we do?
Make sure there's an unobstructed view of what's going on.
An unobstructed view of what's going on.
So he's opening.
Yeah, so he's opening his windows. This is good. This is good. What else do you do? Yes, Joe.
I get wine and pet.
She gets wine and pet food. Now that's great. We're going to Joe's house for the next storm. There's a couple more coming. Yeah, set your priorities straight. Self-care, pet care. Yeah, Vince.
I remember of the last 30 years, there really hasn't been much disastrous storm in this side of the island ever.
I know we're in this wonderful pocket of sunshine.
And a lot of this stuff is hype that gets all people excited, and because that way makes them tune into the radio and the TV even more.
Right. The grocery store.
That's a lot of girls.
You know, and so what do? We make those mad dashes to Costco. You see everybody you know, you get to tell them, everybody's telling you to be safe. There's nothing wrong. How great is that? Went to the bank and everyone says, be great, be safe and have a great weekend. But they're closed. Yeah, so we do all of these things. But do you find yourself, even though, but yet last night, that little storm decided it was going to come towards Kona. But that was wonderful. And then it just blew itself off because we're so protected by these wonderful mountains. And so yesterday I had friends, of course, texting and calling from the mainland, and are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, so I sent them the picture of the sunshine and everything. And I said, it's just very, very hot. So it was very hot yesterday. And, I love getting prepared. How many of you were Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts growing up? Yeah, and what's our motto? Be prepared. And as I was preparing, because I kept hearing this all week long, just prepare, be prepared, do your best to prepare. And it wasn't just physically, it's mentally and spiritually. So we have to do our part to prepare ourselves for whatever might come our way. So how do you do that? Right. What'd you say? Pray. I thought you said right. Some people journal. But we pray, and I sent Silent Unity. We have a You Pray app. And so I sent several this past week in the last few days. And, I've got my little chicken story. And so the chickens hatched this week. And there were 10 of the cutest little things. 3 eggs didn't hatch. And the mom, where does our intelligence come from? Where does our non-intelligence come from? So the be prepared person I am, I want to take care of these chicks, right? That's not my job. They have a hen mother. James and Cindy are laughing at me. They think I'm the craziest person on the planet. So here's the thing. So the chicks are born, and the next thing I know, the mom's in the driveway, which is down the little rock wall. She has a couple of chicks with her, and the rest are falling down the little thing, and they can't really walk yet. So I put on a glove and I moved the little hen chicks by the mom. Well, guess what happened? We did have rain a little bit the early morning hours. So I went over and looked, good morning, Mama. How are you? How's your babies? And they're dying because they got wet and they got cold. She found a new little place for them. So I thought, I'm so sad. And I was like, Deb, you're just so invested in these chicks. And so then I put a little cover over them to try and incubate them and keep them warmer. And then I peeked and one was perking up a little bit. And I thought, this is a great way to start my church lesson, is to have the chicks die on me in the morning. And I was like, okay, God, you're so powerful. Raise these chicks. And it was like, Joe shrugs his shoulders. I said, the chicks are dying. He goes, it's part of life. And I go, sometimes you're so practical, it makes me crazy. And that's life. So if we had gotten damaged by the storm, what would we do? We would fix it. We would do the best that we could, because remember the 4 agreements are so great. Do your best, no more, no less. And I was raised to be a person to do more. Everybody in Unity's that way. Raise your hand. Aren't you that way? We will go beyond what we need to do to make it be the best we can be. And so I began to make a list last night of all the things I was grateful for. And one was the weather was so beautiful. And my chimes were chiming. I have chimes on the lanai, and it's like they were just tinkling. And it was like there was just a little bit of breeze. And that made me grateful for that. And that we had electricity. Did anybody lose their power yesterday? You did. It was very long?
Since we woke up.
Oh, since we woke up this morning. Okay. So that can happen. So I was grateful for that. Grateful that Sasha and the kids were over yesterday and we're doing what we're doing. And it's a blessing because there's family and we could come together on these times. And that is what all of this is about, is we prepare ourselves for everything that we possibly can. And then what do? We leave the results to God and say, okay, I'm going to have enough faith, I'm going to have enough trust, and I'm going to have enough hope and prayer that it's all going to work together for good. And so it's very interesting about trust. And Charles Fillmore wrote this about trusting our intuition, because we all have intuitive guidance. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. And you just kind of know what to do when things are happening. And if you stay out of your head, you will do even better. So Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, wrote this about intuition. Intuition is the natural knowing capacity. Remember, everyone has it. You naturally know what to do. Inner knowing, the immediate apprehension of spiritual truth without resort to intellectual means. And that means we don't want to be in our head. The wisdom of the heart, that's our intuitive guidance. It is very much surer in guidance than the head. When one trusts spirit and looks to it for understanding, a certain confidence in the invisible good develops. This faith awakens a so-called sixth sense, intuition or divine knowing. Through the power of intuition, man has direct access to all knowledge and the wisdom of God. So we have 2 more storms that are coming our way, so we continue to be prepared. And every time we do a little more, we're a little more prepared. And it's wonderful because we're willing to share, we're willing to give, we're willing to do what we think is the best for ourselves, our family, and our community. How great is that? We come together in that true spirit of aloha that says, yes, I'm here for you. I'm here to serve. I'm here to help. And as I was preparing for this talk, all I kept seeing was my Girl Scout days. And I realized this week, last night, that what I learned as that Girl Scout helped me be a great mom and a good minister. Because all those little things that You know, when you stand there and hold your 3 fingers up and you promise to do this, to do my duty to God and my country. That's where that came from. And so we think about those very things and how, you know, being a Girl Scout, you're honest and you're prepared and you do the best that you can and you're willing to help others and all of those things. And that's what happens naturally when we trust God, that we are willing to do what needs to do. And one of my favorite books I have is called A Man Who Tapped the Secrets of the Universe. And it was written by Walter Clark about Walter Russell. And Walter Russell was the same era as Charles Fillmore and all the New Thought thinkers. And he wrote, and he was an artist, and he did all kinds of fabulous things, building. He's an architect, he was a scientist. And he wrote that deep down in his heart, he knew that we all have the same promise of the unlimited help of the universal intelligence that guides all things. If we want it, we only have to plug into it with the master keys of desire and trust. So what is it that you desire? Do you want to be happy? You could say yes. What are other things that you desire? Those things that come from your heart that you go, maybe you'll say, I wish I could do this, or I wish I had that. What are some of those wishes that you have in your mind and in your heart that you would like to have differently? Anybody have anything? What's in your heart? What is that desire that says, I'd like this to happen. I'd like that to happen. I'd like to be here. I'd like to maybe live in Hawaii. Those are desires, those little urgings that come within us to move us. How many of you have those things in your days? Patrick?
I don't want to.
He doesn't want to move. They just got notice that they have to move. How many of you love moving? That was really, really clear. We don't. But what if we all gathered together and helped Patrick and Kayla move across the street? Isn't it close by?
Yeah, it's like
A quarter of a mile away. We all move a lot, don't we? Because the only thing permanent is change. And so we bless and support Patrick and Kayla when they get this news that their owner of their place where they live now wants to move back to Hawaii. How many people do that? How many have had that experience living here? You have a great rental, and the next thing you know, they say, oh, we're coming back. Of course you are. And we're going to move. The first year we were here, between the church and our personal housing, I think we moved 10 times. It was like so many. Many of you might know that. Because you go, well, where's Unity going to be this week? Because we had that going on, and then we had all kinds of things happen wherever we live. The house got sold. When the market's great and you're in a rental, you can count on it getting sold. It happens. But we did all of that, and now we've been a little more settled for like 11 years now in our own house. And so that's a blessing. So I get thankful for those things, and to have the tree guys come and give us an estimate. Anybody ever had estimates for trees around here? To get them trimmed? And it's like, it's a shock. It is, isn't it? And so I was like, okay, God, but it's got to be done. So we prepare, we plan, we take care of business. And that's what we do as true students. We prepare, we plan, and we take care of ourselves. And we put together whatever it is that we might need that's going to help us move forward on this path. I was reading a chapter in our book called The Quest this week, and it's about that we march to a different drummer. And that when we come on this spiritual path, sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes you do feel alone. And sometimes you're just like, did I do the right thing coming to Unity? Is this really what it's about? Maybe I should go back to the Catholic Church. Do you ever feel that way sometimes? That's great. Everybody said no. Did anybody say yes? That's awesome. Because, see, you know truth. The truth is you know you're in your right place, doing your right work at the right time. And you're on this spiritual path that says, I can do this. No matter what conflicts or difficulties or storms are all around me. Did you ever think, like in the last day, that we were in just like the eye of the storm the whole time? Because it was so quiet and peaceful and hot. That's what, and I was like so grateful, like looking around, and it was like, wow, we did that. And then we came down here and we saw that wonderful piece of equipment out in front. It was over in front of our door yesterday. So you just never know what you're going to find wherever you go in Kona. It's quite amazing. So we do our part. The one that's right outside the door. That big piece of equipment.
The kitchen stuff.
So it's interesting what life will give to you. So what I did is just sat back and I went, okay, I'll just talk to the property manager and tell her we got this big piece of equipment in front of our door. And if we do have wind, it will blow into these plate glass windows. And I told her, I said, you know, I used to be a commercial insurance agent. I can't help but think about what could go wrong because that's how you cover people's insurance. And then I said, I'm a safety girl, because that's what I tell my kids and my grandkids, that these are the things that we do. So I feel safe in my spiritual life too, because I take care of what needs to be taken care of. And you all do the same. Whatever it is that you need, you trust your guidance that you're going to move forward. You're going to have all the tools that you need to go from plan A to plan B, even if it looks like it's stormy. You're going to have the water. You're going to have, I brought a flashlight today. Joe's got to hang on that. And I was going to bring our emergency kit, but I thought it's still filled with stuff that I didn't even use yet. And last year, when we had our emergency kit together, everything didn't work. The lanterns nothing worked that we had in this great emergency kit. And so this year, we did the same thing, because remember we had 15 storms last year, or 15 hurricanes, and so we just want to be prepared. So you go through your stuff, you throw out what doesn't work and you can't use, and you get something to replace it, or you don't replace it. The fun part, since we closed the thrift store, we still have a lot of stuff in our carport, but every time there's a storm, we go through more stuff and say, we really aren't going to need this. And if we open another thrift store, whenever that might be, guess what? Everything we need will manifest. I don't need to hang on to some of these things. Do you ever feel that way? So we want a clean house, trust God constantly, because God in us is always guiding us, always telling us what we need to do to move forward in our life. And so the best way that it works that I've found is to have a plan. Release what you no longer need. Be open to what good is coming your way or what change is coming your way. Be open to it, because that's how God guides and directs us. And then we want to be peaceful in the time of transition. How many of you found yourself being anxious this week about the storm? Did anyone? It's her thing, though. She knows that she's anxious. So I get that way too sometimes when I think I want the kids to be at my house because Sasha was going to have to work. But a blessing was the restaurant decided to close yesterday, so she only had to work one shift. And so we were going to be all together. And even that sort of works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. And then we have to trust that whatever we've been guided to do is going to work for us, because that's how God works our life. Moving through all those experiences and guiding and directing us every day. So we ask ourselves when we're in that moment of peace and calm, and we know we're going to make the next step, we have to ask ourselves what it is we need to do. And so what I invite you to do this week, no matter where you are, is to take one situation that could use some direction, that could use some guidance, and I ask you to just sit there for a few minutes and ask yourself, what's your next step? And regardless of how strange or unexpected that answer is, like all week I kept hearing, be prepared, be prepared. So it took me back to being a Girl Scout, and it was like, this is silly. That was so long ago. But those tools, those things that I needed, the people who taught me skills back then, helped me be who I am today. And so I invite you to take this process, everything that comes up that you're not sure what you should be doing. Ask yourself, what's the next step? And then during the week, pay close attention to all the insights, the hunches, the people that you meet. I have a philosophy in my life. It's been with me for a very long time. If two people tell me about something, the same thing, I need to pay attention to it. So it's God's little messengers coming into my life. And sometimes it's in the most unexpected ways. And so that's what we want to do, is follow the nudges, the insights, the activities, the hunches that pop into our head, that come into our heart. Pay attention to them and prepare ourselves for our greater good that is absolutely going to come our way. Because that is part of God's plan. As Joel Osteen says, you're in God's favor. And I often hear him, he says that a lot if any of you watch him. And it's about, if someone is in your favor, it's like they're in your grace. They're in your love. They're in your space for goodness. So I invite you to do that. Just say, what's my next step in moving forward in my spiritual life? And to know that we can do it together. I probably was on the phone most of the day yesterday and the night before. How about you? Did people want to know how you were and what was happening? So we're cared for and nurtured in the most wonderful ways in our lives because we live on this little island called the Big Island. But we live in a place that's far away from everyone else. So we band together in truth and our spirit and our love and our sharing and our caring, like all the food that we have today to eat. Because everyone wanted to be sure that everyone had something when they came to church today. That's a blessing. So that's what we want to look for so we prepare for our greater good. Thank you, everyone. Oh, there's good. fun, Larry. Thank you. That was fun. You like that.